pick up that old fossil.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadebonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
Season 3 of The Mandalorian has dropped.
Hooray.
And the Shamrock Shake is back, Kenton. I saw a sign this morning.
So our cup runneth over with Shamrock and Mandalorians alike. Shamrocks and Mandalorian nigh.
I'm slightly more excited about one of these things, and it is, of course, the
Yes, me
Mandalorian
too.
Season 3. It was exciting. Of course, I'm sure you were up early Wednesday morning to watch it. How was that?
Oh, I thought you were going to say to buy my Shamrock Shake.
That's right.
Oh, they both have something in common: little green things.
There you go.
Yes, I got up early. And it's a short episode, as promised. We knew it was going to be short going in. That was the buzz. And I almost couldn't believe it. I almost have Mandalorian amnesia because I'm so excited to watch a new season that when I watch it, it's almost like I can't. It's like the excitement makes it hard for me to take it in. Yeah. Like it goes by so fast that it's almost like I can't get my mind around what I just saw. How about you?
Your mind is racing at what's happening.
Right.
You just can't quite, take it in. I have to admit, we can just jump into the opening sequence. We'll go through each of these a little bit and then talk about what we thought of it. I thought, and I think there was a little bit of misdirection at the beginning of this episode.
Oh, yes.
Right? Were you, did you think something different was happening?
Yes, there's two possibilities, I think. Two other possibilities of what people thought were happening.
Okay.
And I thought one of them.
Well, okay, so we
open up. Maybe you thought the other one, but okay. So we see the armorer.
We open up with the smith or the armorer, whatever her name is, making a helmet, and I immediately thought it was going to be a helmet for Grogu.
Me too.
That's exactly. I thought there's going to be little slits on the sides for his ears to stick out, and it's going to be his little helmet. But it was not. It looked like, I think they deliberately made it look like a kid version of Mando's helmet. It was like the same colors as his helmet. Was it? I don't know. I want to say I did appreciate the basic colors of the children's helmets in that scene. Yeah. As we come up, because we learn that it is actually it looks like it's the ceremony for this cult, this Mandalorian cult that he is
some call it a cult. Others
Bo-Katan
say that's
calls it a cult.
Right. That's right. But she's bitter. But we'll talk about that. She's a little bitter.
That's right.
Yeah, she's ready to go on Oprah with her story.
Sulking so much.
Yeah, so and the second thing people thought that was a flashback.
Yes.
They thought it was Din.
Yes.
Himself.
This looks like Din. It's a kid. He's got like long hair. I mean, you don't know what he's looked like as a child, right? So they have the ceremony, kind of there's some alliances with like a baptism here. They're using water and they're like putting his helmet on. They're making a promise that he's never going to take it off. And then all of a sudden, a giant monster comes out of nowhere.
It's quite a monster too.
Well, did they think like it's a giant crocodile? It looks like, including it has like the roll. It does like the crocodile roll or alligator, whatever they do, where they grab something and roll over. It does that. So that's insane. And so we have all these Mandalorians fighting off this beast. It's insane.
I thought I was so surprised by it too. And you're right, the misdirection really threw me. Because I really thought it's like we're starting this with Mandalorian armor for Grogu is what I thought.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, holy shit, we're plunging right in. And so then when this happens, like and you see the kid standing there. And by the way, the kid looks like Daniel Logan from.
He does. Yes.
There's that element too. And then for a second, I was like, wait, is this baby Boba Fett or like are we? Is
this baby Jango Fett?
Yeah,
are we that far back?
Right. There's so many things that this seemed like it was, and then this guy, the crocodile alligator, shows up on the scene, and then you're like, well, now what's happening? And then I thought the armorer was gonna get eaten.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not gonna start by killing the fan favorite right off the hop.
No, but I was very much in the mindset that this was a flashback. I thought we were seeing Din Djarin's ceremony when he became a Mandalorian, and I thought that, yes, the armor is there. Yes, we have Jon Favreau's guy with the big gun, but I thought they were just there too. I thought they raised him basically. I thought they were like his parents. I get, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you don't know how old they are under that helmet. They could be twice as old as Din. So that's what I thought this was. And I didn't clue in to it being a present scene until he shows up in the freaking spaceship.
And I think it was designed that way.
Yeah, I didn't even. I'm like, oh my god, this is all something from his past. And then boom, he shows up in his fucking fancy little spaceship.
This is like the Millennium Falcon coming in at the end to like misdirect Vader at the Death Star.
Yeah.
Because you do go woohoo when he comes flying in.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm gonna take care of this beast right away.
Oh man, but. Okay, just my question is though, like, why did they pick this spot? Did they just had no idea that this would be a danger, or like they didn't scope out the situation, or is it just that like just these beasts show up all the time in Star Wars?
Well, I think once in a while you hear the story from Florida where the alligator eats the human being, and you're like, I don't know, they seem pretty slow, but I don't think they're that slow. I think they come shooting out when you least expect it.
Probably.
That's the fastest they ever are.
Well, I love that shot of the helmet cam when he was flying.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And I guess you're right. It would have been nice to scope it out. It would be nice to have some, if you know that these things exist, that you have some turrets there, or some towers or something, to some watchtowers at the very least. But yeah, that was a big that was a big surprise opening, and it reminded me a little of the Mandalorian episode where he and Corn on the Cob Vanth got together to fight the
Crate Dragon.
The Crate Dragon.
Yeah.
It sort of had a little callback to that, I thought a little.
I was going to say, I think they used the same 3D model for this because it seems to be about the same size as the Crate Dragon.
Yeah, it might be.
So they might have just started from the same place and built it out in a different way to create this giant crocodile. But it was a fun scene. It's
a good scene. I also want to say that later in the episode, the Mandalorian has a clever line when something happens, which we'll talk about. Has a joke, an Austin Powers joke, as a matter of fact, which we'll talk about. Yeah. But I thought that what I expected here at the end. Okay, so you see the ship land, you see it's Mandalorian, you see Grogu pop up, and then I thought it would be great if the Mandalorian got out of the pod and said, "See you later, alligator." What do you say? See you later, alligator.
Well, it would have fit with the other one.
Yes, it would have fit with the other. Although, if this were an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, we would have got "See you later, alligator." That would have been in there.
You know what I recently realized about Arnold Schwarzenegger and his career in the 80s is that there was a deliberate attempt to make "I'll be back" his catch line for all his movies.
It showed up.
He said it in everything. I thought it was a Terminator thing. I always thought that was just a Terminator thing, but and I knew he said it in Running Man, but there's something else I saw. He says it in like a couple, like 5 or 6 different movies, and it was like he just thought, like people just well, I think it was Twins. He said it. At some point it became a reference to his own movies, I guess, right?
And anyway. Commando with him in it has 4,000 taglines. That's the workshop.
That's it.
When you watch that one, it's just like, let off some steam. Like the guy's got a pipe with steam coming out of it, sticking
he
out of
lost his head.
Right, he lost his head. Which, by the way, we will talk about again.
So yeah, we have Mando come in and he approaches the armorer and he's
And by the way, thanks for saving our asses, Mando.
No kidding, nothing.
What do we need? What do we got to do to get a little thank you here from these? There's a lot of sad Mandalorians walking around who don't have thanks for anybody. Is what we learn.
Yeah, but she's still upset that he took his helmet off.
Yeah.
She's not having any of it, and he's sitting there trying to convince her to say like, we teach of redemption and we're all about forgiveness or something. I don't know. He makes a case for it, and she says nope, because our planet was destroyed. Nobody can be redeemed because the waters of whatever it is don't exist. And he's like, but it does. And he gets this piece. He shows her this piece of jade, it looks like, and it's like green crystal that I don't know, says something on it, and it's proof that Mandalore was crystallized. She says, he's so cute, Baby Yoda. Like Grogu is just the cuteness,
just
is
the best,
through the roof in this episode. Not every single scene he's got a moment. You know, like different things. Like here, he's just kind of looking around, but he's like watching. You can tell he's interested in the conversation. He's watching back and forth, and I get like this is all a puppet, right? They're doing this with puppetry, so it's just really, really well done.
Oh, it's great, and it's not to the point that you just go, okay, enough already. Like we get it, he's cute. It's just the right amount. Like they have to be careful of that. Yeah. But I also think that when little baby Grogu went away to visit Luke, there might have been a plan at that point to do a season or something without Grogu, or maybe we'll take a break from him. And I think they realize the dollar signs told them,
I know.
we need this little guy back for this season.
Yeah.
And boy, he sure adds a lot.
Yeah, you can't. This would be not the same show at all without him.
Yeah.
So they have their conversation, and she agrees. And it's so funny. I'm watching this, and he's like making his case, and he's looking at her, and you're waiting for her to say it, and she's like, "This is the way." So
Yeah.
she agrees. Okay, fine. If you can do this, if you can go to Mandalore, find the mines, and bathe in the water, you can be forgiven. But I still somehow suspect that he's going to end up taking off his helmet again.
Yeah, of course he is. Well, we need to see the actor. Actors get into
now
acting.
more than ever.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal is
Yeah.
huge.
He's huge.
So yes, we need to see that face. But this is a cool scene too.
Oh yeah. So they jump to hyperspace, and we get a Rebels callback.
Is that what this is? Yeah,
Rebel.
I thought that's what this was.
Yeah.
So we see like the space whales that we saw in Rebels, and they're in hyperspace.
Okay. Can only Grogu see those space whales, or can Mando see them too, and they're just accepted parts of traveling through
I
hyperspace?
think Mando's asleep in this scene.
So are we meant in this scene to go, well, Mando doesn't know about these, only baby Grogu does?
Maybe.
And the fact he's asleep is to tell us that he's unaware of this? That's what I took this to mean.
Yeah, that could be. I think it could just be that he's asleep, and these are it could be these are things that are always there, but people don't see them because of the nature. Because X-Wings have that kind of cockpit.
But he's one with the Force, and they've
Right.
already established that he has a close kinship with animals, with creatures, and like he put the Rancor to sleep in Book of Boba Fett. Like he seems to have communion with the animals.
Yeah, that's
Seems
true.
to be his
Yeah,
thing.
and I think you're right. I think it does have to do with the Force. So you're probably right that only he can see that.
Maybe.
I think that's what that's meant to be.
Right.
But it scared him. And he cuddles in with Mando, which is very cute as well. Yeah, these are the space whales that did they eat Thrawn? What happened with something happened with Thrawn in that?
I believe in the okay. So I am not. So let's start by saying we are not the all-time biggest Rebels fans.
I'm
or
a bigger
watcher.
fan than you are.
Right,
I
that's
watched
true.
the whole thing.
I watched the last episode, and I recall that Thrawn and Ezra, were they not carried away one way or another by these lightspeed whales?
I think so. They were.
So we're going to see something.
They're in there. They're right there in that whale. I like this shot, though. I got to say, I really like this shot with that. I didn't even realize that was the ship right there, that tiny little ship,
Yeah.
these giant whales. But just so the scale of these things is really good.
It's very subtle too, and I like how it builds mystery. Like if for people who've never seen Rebels, this is kind of an interesting.
Yeah. They're
This
like,
is an
whoa, what is
interesting
this?
little
I didn't even
element.
realize this
Yeah.
exists in Star Wars,
Yeah.
right? So
It's very
I love
cool.
that shot of him just kind of snuggling in and going to sleep, those two. And
Yeah.
you really just get a sense of like the two, they just love each other.
They do.
Right? That's
Yeah.
just like they're in it for each other. They're there, complete trust and love, and you just love to see that. Now we come back to what's the name of this planet again?
Navarro. Dave Navarro.
Dave Navarro. It's prosperous. It's like booming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip ahead because just
Yeah.
the Grief Karga. My favorite part of this are these
Two robots,
these
right?
little droids carrying his. We'll get to that. Yeah. We see a bunch of stuff. We see the Kawaki monkeys. We see the IG statue. But when he shows up and he's got these two little robots carrying his train behind him, oh, it's so funny.
That is gold. Yeah, it's so funny. And I also like he's so badass that like my cape dare not touch the ground.
Yeah. Well, his ego is apparent in this.
High magistrate.
Wow.
Not just magistrate. Better get it right.
Now, this, again, talking about Grogu moments, him playing with the chair with the Force here is hilarious.
Beautiful.
Just as they have their conversation, he's trying to convince Mando to settle down. He wants a marshal. I wasn't sure if we were going to get a reference to Cara Dune, but we did. She's been recruited by the, what was it again?
The New Republic.
The New Republic in some kind of thing, which was, I guess, supposed to be that series, which is probably not happening
The spinoff that'll never
happen.
happen.
The Rangers. The Rangers, the New Republic. That's what it was. But I think that either we'll still get the series and she won't be in it, or...
You know what that was the equivalent of? It made me laugh because I thought of Conrad Bain in Different Strokes going, "How's camp, Arnold? Oh, it's good? Okay. Well, you enjoy summer camp, Arnold." Hang up the phone like, all right, let's get on with the plot. Gary Coleman is in salary talks
That's right.
with the makers of Different Strokes. And that's sort of their version of, never to be seen again.
We have to acknowledge that she should be there, like as a character. You'd expect her to be there, but she moved on.
She might have been the marshal of this town.
Yes.
That might have been the plot.
Although we could get Cobb. Maybe Cobb needs a job.
Oh, I think that's a guarantee. Because when he says to Mando, you'd be a good
lawman.
You'd be a good lawman, and he's like, not for me, kind of thing.
Yep.
Cobb. Because we don't know what, like, Cobb is probably part cyborg now.
And we did establish that he was still alive. They made great pains to establish that he was still alive after that encounter. And then we have so this droid, I love this. Oh no, they're gonna go to the droid smith.
He's sort of C3 protocol.
Very
droid,
much a C3PO-esque droid that doesn't look with a different face.
Yeah.
And then we have some trouble. We have pirates showing up at what used to be the bar. I guess this used to be the place where he would meet at the beginning of the series, where he would meet with Mando to give him the bounties, right? That's how they started.
Now, I'm not 100% sure of that. I think you're right, because he said this is a school, so you can't
Which
drink.
We saw last time they were in Navarro. We
Right.
saw Baby Grogu eating the macarons with the other kids.
Taking them from the kids.
Yeah. So, and then this one we see him take jelly beans. He's just got a sweet tooth. So we have some pirates show up. They want to drink. I found this conversation to be a bit much, honestly. I'm like, come on, you're just like, we want to drink here, even if it's a school. Like, do you think there's even alcohol in there, buddy? Like, what are you thinking?
It's
You're being kind of an idiot right now.
Well, I think they just showed up to choose any fight that was possible.
But why?
And as a result, they were like, okay, this will be our fight. But it's like they were sent there from the boss who we meet later,
right?
To create trouble. Create trouble for the law and order that's now in this town.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's that simple.
And I think they probably want to try moving into so they can, sell drugs.
You have to be out of your mind here. Like, first of all, Carl Weathers is a badass, despite whatever
Despite the
cape
robes.
he's a badass. But then you got Mando leaning on a tree in the back. You're like, you're out of your mind if you are gonna confront these two.
Well, I gotta admit, I was impressed with Grief Karga in this scene, because I did not expect that. What happens here when he shoots? He basically is a very fast draw, and he shoots the gun out of the guy's hand. And I'm like, I totally expected Mando to drop in and save him. Like, I thought that's what was going to happen. He can handle it. He shot him, and then we get.
There's there's an opportunity for both men to show that they're pretty quick draws.
Yeah.
Here,
So
this is the most Western kind of scene that I think we have in this episode.
Sure.
But Mando leaning on the tree, and then he stops leaning on the tree, then he leans away from the tree, and you know that it's on now.
Yeah.
I thought for a brief moment, like this whole episode, I was worried they were going to kill some character we really liked in order to show like we mean business. And so I was a little worried that Carl Weathers here was going to meet his end.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I've really come to like this character a lot,
Yeah,
more
me
so
too.
than I thought I would. And
me
I
too.
have watched, I've watched through almost all of. Well, no, I have watched The Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and I got about halfway through the Book of Boba Fett before this came around. So I have not quite finished all of it. But every scene, like every time I see him in the show, he gets better. And it's more interesting and more to his character, and I want to see more from Carl Weathers. I never thought I'd say that out loud. But
Oh no, he is amazing in this, and I remember Steele Saunders saying he's either the best or worst actor in the world, but I don't know which. and it's like he brings a physical presence to the role, and it's everything we've seen him in. There is some Apollo Creed here.
Sure.
There's some Predator here. There's lots of good stuff.
There's some Action Jackson here.
He totally knows this role. Let's put it that way. He has played, but although he really also seems to have gotten into this role too. Like he embraces his role in Star Wars now.
I agree, and I see him in interviews and stuff where he really seems to like love being a part of this. So it does seem to be a good fit for him. Okay, so then they dispose of the pirates, and then they take. He wants to fix IG-11. For some reason, Mando is convinced that in order to explore the minds of Mandalore, he needs this droid because he doesn't trust droids. This is the only droid he's ever trusted. So he wants to rebuild IG-11. Which kind of brings up some questions about like mortality for droids and that kind of stuff. Like, are they just basically immortal? You can just repair them no matter what, or how damaged they become, or what?
I don't think so. I think IG-11 blew himself up, and it didn't look like much was left. So we're imagining that there was enough left that they salvaged. They made a statue.
Well,
out of
they
him.
salvaged his head and part of his torso and an arm is basically what they got there. So, and I guess in his head is his processing stuff. But then they bring him to a droid. Oh no! Then he tries to fix it, right? Yes, they bring him to the droid smith after.
Yeah.
So he tries to fix them. So we have a nice little building montage. Sparky.
It's good, and it's good because I like it could go either way. This could be your best pal again who's returned going, what happened? Or it could be the original droid going kill, kill, kill.
Yeah.
So which is it gonna be?
Yeah, and it turns out it is the second choice.
Yeah.
He does refer to his original programming, which to me says, okay, nice try, but let's find something else, some other way of going about this. I would not keep trying to fix him if the original programming, like what he wants, what I think he really wants is Creel. Is that, or Queel? What's his name? Nick Nolte's character?
The Ugnaught.
Yeah, that's who reprogrammed IG-11
Right.
to be the carrying droid, and that's maybe why he wants him to take care of Grogu, because his core programming after being reprogrammed was to take care of Grogu.
But he showed that droids can learn. You can train a droid to not have the killer instinct anymore. This is pure Terminator, by the way. He's crawling around on the floor. It's kind of horrible, actually. And
It is terrifying. He
and then
throws Grogu off, passes him off.
And then we get the Austin Powers moment.
I love it. Took me a minute to realize that was a bust of Grief Karga.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a bust of him. Smash. And the line, no, that's using your head.
Right, and there's a scene in Austin Powers where he goes, "It's a pity he wasn't more headstrong." And then nobody laughed. And then he does another one.
There's like three or four of them. Yeah,
that's using your head.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I kind of like I know that sometimes those little clips come off as being, like too easy. But I like that there was one.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, and it almost was a callback to Austin Powers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. I had something and I lost it. I can't remember what I was going to say. Yeah, something
the
about
bust.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I like that the droid had the wherewithal to just go boop and just just tip it over, and he knew it was going to fall exactly on and crack his
perfect,
head.
yeah.
Perfect placement. So then they go to the droid smiths, and we have
my favorite scene in the show. I can't get enough of this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So these are the same aliens that Babu Frick is. So this is a nod to the sequel movies, a connection to the sequel movies, which I never thought we'd see. But I guess they have to start building it somehow.
Sure.
So we have these guys. I can't remember what they're called. They have a specific name for this species. And their specialty is droid fixing. And he talks adorably. Get up, it broke it. Hey.
Yeah,
they sound like the guys from Men in Black. Those guys who like hang around drinking coffee in the office. Kind of like those guys.
And they, I had the subtitles on, which I just have automatically now when I watch anything, just because how many times everybody's mumbling on TV shows now.
Or they're off camera. You don't see their mouths when they're speaking.
Sometimes you also learn the name of a character with the subtitles, which for Star Wars purposes is very useful. And so when you turn them on here, you can understand what they're saying a little more clearly. But I love the shtick between Carl Weathers outside the hole. And he's like
translating.
I'm translating, and like you don't need the translation.
Well, after the first one, I think Mando understood him, right?
Yeah.
He could figure out how he was speaking,
right?
And he's like, I got it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Like,
and just when you think he's gonna stop, he says it again. He does one more.
It's funny
hilarious.
little comedy routine, and just seeing Carl Weathers' head looking through the hole is funny.
Yeah.
And also Mando has to sit cross-legged in this. I love that their storefront is it's like where a mouse might live.
It's their size. Of course
yeah.
it is, right? Because their customers can't be expected to go in there.
It's so fun. So I guess Mando crawled in there?
He must have, yes. And then the whole time, Grogu is just eyeing up these guys, and he can't keep his hands off these little guys. So at some point here, Grogu grabs. There he is.
Yeah.
He grabs him and gives him
and by the way, my favorite lines in the whole movie, bad baby, you're a bad baby. Bad baby.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love Bad Baby. Oh, it's so good. And he goes, that's not a pet. And by the way, Grogu has been accused of being a pet.
Yes, that's right. They didn't say that last season. Yeah, that's right. So, no, he cannot cuddle with the little alien guy. So the conversation here is around the memory chip. And they say that he can't fix him because he needs some new memory chips. So now he has to go get a memory chip. So now we have a MacGuffin of things. So the thing for him to get.
It's a very video game style thing that you need to get to advance to the next thing.
And he has a conversation here with Grief Karga about something. Okay, safe travels. Oh, he says just keep him safe until I get back.
Right.
Basically, he's going off. Now, I thought at this point we were going to go like, let's start this adventure. Let's go figure out where to get this thing from. Yeah. But that's not what happened.
No. There's two surprises I'd say after this scene. Right, and
well, first off is the I guess we have the attack from the pirates. So we have this nice little moment where he's like teaching Grogu about how to pilot a ship. I guess he's teaching him about the ways of the world, of the universe. And then we get this great scene through the asteroid belt of the just chase and battle. Like, this is something we didn't get a ton of in the other 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. We had a little bit of space battle, but I mean, it's always been one of my favorite parts of Star Wars. I always love seeing it.
And the asteroid field, great callback to The Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
It occurred to me as they're flying through there, are there any space worms hiding on any of these rocks? But we didn't see one.
No.
So there's good dogfight here. The bad guys, turns out they were waiting.
Yeah, for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. Oh, no, did they say why? They were like...
Well, now he wants revenge for...
killing his 4 guys. They're upset about the 4 guys they killed.
Right, and so it's great. It's a nice little battle through the asteroid field. It's well done. Beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Yeah. And interesting. Like, it's not like your typical... dogfight. He moves in different ways and comes out of nowhere. Like, it's really
baby Grogu gives us a little woohoo.
He laughs. Yeah, he loves it when they do this kind of stuff.
It reminded me of Daniel Logan laughing when Django drops those bombs in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
A little bit like that. Like, they're taking pleasure in what they can do and in the speed of the ship.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is there he is giggling. So this is a great scene. So he ends up. Oh yeah, then we get their boss. He goes to talk to their boss. And what was this guy's name again?
Do you know his name?
I don't know. It's the villain from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. And by the way, so another Disney series is Pirates of the Caribbean. These are pirates, right? We find out, and then we see the guy, and it's very and a character like we've never seen in Star Wars.
Sure, yeah.
And I clearly he's coming back at some point.
Yeah, this is a setup. Do you think he's like the big bad of the season, or is he just like a side bad?
I think this guy presents no problem whatsoever to a guy like Mandalorian. Now, when the Mandalorian's not around, these guys might cause havoc on that planet.
Right, yes.
Like this, they could be really bad for that planet. But for Mandalorian, I think as long as Mandalorian's around, this guy's like Swamp Thing. Or is he Swamp Thing, or is he Pirates of the Caribbean, or is he across?
I guess both.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of Pirates of the Caribbean.
A little Muppet in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the voice is familiar, and I now I blank on the actor's name, but I have seen him in other things before.
I looked up the actor.
actor.
Of course, right away I want to know who this actor is, and same thing. I don't remember what else he's been in, but. And then part of me was like, why can't he just hyperspace out? And he does.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that was my first question. When he uses that little speed boost thing he's got. He used it at the beginning, and then he used it again here to get out of there. But yeah, he could have just done that at the beginning, I think. But whatever. Then we wouldn't have a nice battle through the asteroid field.
And then I did not expect this at all.
No, and I got to say, I'm kind of disappointed with this ending. This final scene. I mean, it was cool. It was exciting.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, this is a Mandalorian planet. That's a Mandalorian castle. I'm like, holy crap, we've never seen a Mandalorian castle before.
And it's a very cool castle. And the droid out front is menacing.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I can't wait to see all the details of this castle. No, we don't get we don't get any of that. We just get him showing up, and we have Bo-Katan draped across her. Did she just sit there all day on her throne, like draped across her throne?
Sulking? She is in a bad space. She probably emailed school in the morning and said she was taking a mental health day based on this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She's just not having a good time. She's been abandoned. None of her friends are around. She did not win the Darksaber like she wanted to, or maybe she promised. Of course, the Mandalorian has it.
Yeah.
And so now she's just given up and just said, and she says, do what you want. Do what you want is basically.
Well, she says, wave it around. It'll do whatever you want. Like she says, go find him, and they'll do what you want. But she's not gonna come with them. She's not gonna help him. She's just gonna sulk.
Her body language is I give up.
She can't be the ruler, so she doesn't want to have any part of it.
And by the way, I love it's like you need to go to the Bell MTS Civic Center. She actually says the term Civic Center. I'm like,
what was it?
The Mandalorian waters are located under the Civic Center.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what? There's no branding? That's a branding opportunity.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. The Civic. I love the term Civic Center coming up in Star Wars. It's very funny.
Yeah.
What's another one? What's another good branded TD Gardens? The TD Gardens Civic Center. Oh, it's so funny. The Excel Energy Civic Center. And here she's telling him.
She said there's no more Beskar left. Yeah. Is that what she's saying? There's nothing.
She's saying there's nothing on Mandalore.
Yeah, there's not worth going back.
Go ahead. She basically says, "You have my permission. Go back. Who cares?
There's beneath the Civic Center.
If you think you can find something beneath the Excel Energy Civic Center, then have at it." Yes.
But and then that's it. That was the end of the episode, and I was kind of disappointed. That's it. I was really hoping that we would have at least one more step in the search for the process memory chip or whatever he has to get for the droid. I thought that was going to be the main thrust of this episode, but it just kind of set it up.
I kind of like, though, and the Mandalorian sets up something that actually works in real life, and that is, no matter what anybody says to him that's snarky or rude or out of line, he just continues with a calm voice, like, okay, so I will go there, and I'm going to go blah, 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 blah. Not once does he take the bait from folks who are throwing stuff at him. He always responds by as though the person has just said to him something reasonable and something that he likes to hear. So it's kind of like, yeah, I have the Darksaber, and you wish you had it, and you're disappointed by it. And it's like, okay, well, can I go back? And can I? He's sort of asking her permission in a roundabout way. And what he sees and what I like about that ending is that, yeah, she's given up Bo-Katan, and she's at a low ebb, but it won't be like that forever. She's either going to come at Mandalorian to get that Darksaber, or she will accept the inevitable, which is that he is the new leader, and she will, I think, fall in line. And she'll either become his worst enemy or his best ally.
Oh, I just recently watched the second season, and I was thinking back to what I was watching this. I'm thinking back to the scene in which, like, he comes up with the Darksaber, and he's like, "Okay, here you go," and she's like,
yeah.
Did you win it from it? What did she do? He just gave it. Like, Mando did not win it in battle.
Well, he does. He beats.
I guess he does.
He beats, what's his name? Gus Fring. What can I think of his real name?
What was his real fake name for the
show? What's his
Star
name?
Wars?
What's his name in Star Wars? The character's name.
Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, we know what it is, but we just can't think of it right now.
They talked about him too. They established that he was facing a tribunal or something like that. So he's in prison.
Can he get out? Does the Star Wars law system work like our system, where it's like, yes, you're right, we're letting you go? Like, what? Is it going to be one of those where we just go, come on, you can't let that guy go?
Well, I don't know, because right now, as we sit after this first episode, we don't really have a villain for this season. There's no bad guy. We've got that.
There's missions.
There's missions, yeah. There's things to overcome, but there's no, like, antagonist or someone actively trying to stop him from doing what he's doing. So I think we still have to introduce that element. I don't think it's going to be. I almost had it. I almost had his name. It's. I'm going to look it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to be Gus Fring?
I don't think it's going to be Gus Fring.
From Breaking Bad. I think the Swamp Thing guy is just a momentary. We'll come back to him, and we'll dispatch with him in relative short.
Moff Gideon.
What the hell? Oh, so dumb that I couldn't think of that. So bad. I have no business calling myself a Star Wars
whatever.
fan.
It's. I mean, he wasn't even in the episode, so who cares, right? But anyway, I just think they have to come up with something to. It's not going to be easy, right? He's going to have to explore. There's probably going to be monsters in that.
What is going to be under there? It's going to be there can be any kinds of, and what kind of discoveries might he find under there? You know, like not just monsters. What might be down there?
It's like the video game. It's like that one that's that Jedi Order that you're exploring and killing creatures. That's all he's going to be doing, is killing mindless creatures. Potentially.
But what if he finds something down there of importance in some other element of Star Wars? Like, I think the whales are our first. Like, the hyperspace whales are our first kind of Ahsoka tie-in.
Yeah.
Like, not first. I shouldn't say that because she's been in the series.
Yeah. But it's the next kind of iteration of that.
The bridge to that series we've laid that bridge. We started to.
Ahsoka was also in Rebels.
Yeah, remember? I think she could show up in this. Yeah. I think that's still possible. I think there's a bunch of things that could still happen here. Boba Fett, I do believe, will be called upon at some point during this season. I just think there's a lot of different things in play. And what I like about this, like when I first saw this episode, as I say, I could barely get my mind around it because I was so excited to see it. And then afterwards, I was like, "Oh, gee, that went by really quick." But really, they laid a lot of pipe for later in the series. That like a lot actually happened in that 35 minutes.
Yeah. It's all setting up up different things to take place. Like you got to wonder, is Bill Burr going to come back at some point? I think they're probably going to make a moment for every character, every popular character that we've had anyway.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the other thing the episode had to do was get everybody on board what was happening, because some people might not have seen Book of Boba Fett. Some people might not have seen other stuff that was going on because of those 2 Mandalorian episodes in Book of Boba Fett. And so the show also had to remind everybody, where were we? What did we do? What happened? And I thought it did a good job of that, of putting us back into the world.
Yeah, and I did, as I said, I did watch the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian and the first couple episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. And I have to say, upon rewatching it, I really loved the series. The only bad thing is the mod gang, is the scooter gang. That's it. That's the only thing. I cringe every time they're on screen. But other than that, it's very good. So I just think that was like the idea of like one person's idea just kind of kept getting pushed and pushed, and they just kept with it. And then, but that's the only bad thing. Everything, there's so much good in that series.
There's tons of good, and
I love like it all takes place in Jabba's palace, and there's all kinds of things that happen. So I'm gonna finish it, even though I didn't finish it before I started The Mandalorian. I still have a few episodes left. I still have those 2 episodes, Mandalorian episodes within the Book of Boba Fett, as I said, are a movie in itself. Yeah. So you can just watch those as a standalone story.
Oh yeah.
Because that whole thing with him and Luke is just incredible.
Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful thing to watch that unfold. We have not said goodbye to that by any stretch, I don't think. I even, like, when I think about the future of the show, Mandalorian, the Mandalorian might want to learn how that Darksaber works, and he might get the help of Luke Skywalker to figure it out. We might have 2 Jedis in training, Jedi/Mandalorians in training. It's certainly possible that could happen. I do think the ultimate way that I would end this series is, one way or another, Grogu is the leader of Mandalore at some point in the future. Yeah. And the good leader of Mandalore, who lives to be 800 years or something, right? Because they live forever.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's a great potential end game for this series. That could be a flash forward. And then imagine the adventures, right? Yeah. 800 years worth of adventures or something.
I was thinking they might meet somebody else who you can use the Force to train Grogu, since he's not going to stay with Luke. Yep. And we may get Luke coming back at some point, but not on a regular basis or anything like that. So I think that, if they could meet somebody else who has some knowledge or training of the Force to help him, because he's still using it. Clearly, he's like, grabbing jelly beans and spinning chairs, so he's like having fun with the Force. But that also brings up the topic of the dark side, and will they ever introduce that aspect of it? Because it's the dark side.
It's hard to do with such a beloved little baby.
I know, but at some point he's got to
understand how that works.
He's got to be tempted by the dark side, but maybe he's too young at this point. I don't know. Anyway, it's an interesting thought. So what else? Anything else you want to kind of bring up before we wrap up?
What's your overall thoughts on the episode?
I really liked it. I just thought it was too short. I think they could have, and again, depending on how they decide to structure it, instead of going to the castle, that could have been, that scene could have been anywhere in this. Because he said, "I'm here to join you." Like, that's not why he was there. He wasn't going to sit there and like follow along with her. He was just there saying, "Okay, I'm in," and he was going to go off to look for the memory chip. So why did we even get that scene at the end? I didn't like that.
I think it's this whole episode is giving us a reminder of what's happened, plus telling us that this is the important stuff that we're going to be coming back to later. I think all of it. I think every little element of this has like, we're gonna see the Babu Frick creatures complete the fixing of the droid, so we're gonna go back there. Probably those pirates are gonna attack Navarro when he's not there, and maybe be successful doing that. The drop ship from the trailer with the Mandalorians dropping out of it might be like fighting them, maybe. I don't think that's the end of the series. I think that's somewhere near the beginning or in the middle of the series, that drop ship. That's so cool. I think Bo-Katan is either going to become his enemy or friend, depending on how things go. I think the trailers that we've seen are the first half of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they haven't
top
shown
heavy.
us anything from the second half.
No,
I
I
agree.
think this could go many different places that we can't fathom at this point. And a lot of the scenes, I don't know if a lot of the scenes from the trailer were in the first episode. Some were. But it was hard to tell. Like when you get a group of Mandalorians standing together, like with a rocky outcropping, that could be 100 different planets.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think you're right. I don't think that's the final battle.
No.
I think that it could be like the situation that they're in when Mando comes upon them. Like, they're in the middle of fighting a battle, then Mando stops by and says, "Hey, can you help me?" or whatever. Like because he's gonna have to go find those guys at some point, right? Yeah. He's gonna show up and wave the darksaber around, and they're gonna follow him.
She's laid that down too.
Yeah,
She's told us about that.
Yeah.
Like we've learned a lot about what we're gonna do in the short term.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, and I don't think it came up, he didn't actually turn on the darksaber in this episode,
Nope.
but in the last season, he was having a hard time wielding it. We talked about it's heavy. It's like he can't. She's like, "You're fighting the blade." She doesn't, and he has a hard time with that. But I noticed in the previous season, Moff Gideon did not. So it's either they did not figure that part of it out yet, or Moff Gideon had time to figure out the weight of the sword or whatever that is. So I guess that's supposed to be what it was. But I just thought it was interesting.
Well, I think it's different when I think we saw him carrying it around, Moff Gideon, and a little bit of.
He does. He fights them with it at the end, and it just didn't seem like he was struggling. So I mean, but yeah, he's had it. He's been able to play around with it and figure out the the way to work it.
And for all we know, he's a dark force user or something, or
right? We don't know. Yeah,
maybe untrained. Maybe.
I just have a feeling we're gonna get a different villain. There's gonna be somebody else in this.
Could be the introduction of Thrawn too.
Could be the introduction of Thrawn. Yeah, but there's got to be some other kind of something for him, some kind of person or for him to overcome. It can't just be finding the mines and going through the mines.
No, that's what he's going to end up. I'm probably soon. I think maybe next episode even.
Yeah,
where that could have been built up to that, but I don't think it is. I think there's lots of work that still needs to be done to liberate Mandalore, even if you go there and bathe in the waters.
Where does he go get the memory chip from? Can you go back to the manufacturer?
To Amy Sedaris.
That's right. Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah. That's where we'll go back there and get some hijinks.
Okay.
I think it's got to be.
Yeah, I guess. And then you can see Boba Fett while he's on Tatooine.
Right.
Yeah, and Cobb Vanth. All those guys are on Tatooine.
Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities there. He could tell Cobb Vanth that my friend's looking for a sheriff.
Yeah.
Like there's just lots of possibilities, and I'm wondering how many. Like we're just blue sky thinking here, but I can't wait to find out how many of the things that we're talking about actually happen. You know,
something's got to be right.
Yeah,
we've said so many things.
Yeah, but we're gonna find out in the next episode how wrong we were. That's what always happens.
Did you watch The Bad Batch at all?
Not this week.
No, neither did I.
But that's the thing. By the way, it has not been a great season of The Bad Batch so far. And so as a result, The Mandalorian comes out and you're like, I'll just put that one on the back burner.
Exactly. But I did look at the description and it said the Bad Batch encounters a strange spacecraft. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's just like every other episode. I'm just going to, nope, I'm going to do that later. Yeah, so when we don't have any Star Wars, that's when you watch the Bad Batch to get like a little bit of Star Wars injection into your brain. Anyway.
By the way, I almost forgot. We have a trailer for...
Oh, yeah, let's watch that.
And we'll end with that.
Yeah, so this is for a disturbance... This is for A Disturbance in the Force, which is a documentary about the making of the holiday special.
In 1978, Lucasfilm made a huge mistake they prefer we all forget. The Star Wars Holiday Special.
Lucasfilm is still saying, Martin, we shouldn't talk about that.
Nobody is allowed to mention this.
No, you don't remember it?
It is so bad, it's not good.
You have to see the Star Wars Holiday Special to believe it. The Emperor said we can't show the special in this trailer, but rest assured you will see all the clips you can handle in the documentary film A Disturbance in the Force.
The Star Wars Holiday Special is sort of like the Holy Grail.
I wanted to see this more than I wanted to live.
We're starving as fans for anything Star Wars.
So funny and so stupid at the same time.
We have seen something that we weren't supposed to see.
How did this happen?
To find answers, we traveled back and experienced the insanity of 1970s variety television.
When 70s TV was bad, there was no description for it.
how in the world is George Lucas allowing this to happen?
You intergalactic fool. Think you know about the Star Wars Holiday Special? You don't. A disturbance in the Force. A story 45 years in the making.
And South by Southwest, holidayspecialdoc.com. That was a horrible trailer.
Well, it's cheesily put together, but I like who they have. I like the talking heads, the Weird Al Yankovic and
Yeah,
Gilbert
but I don't
Gottfried.
like talking head documentaries.
What else are you gonna do?
We're going to show footage from the actual holiday special.
Yeah,
and
they
show people
said
what
in the documentary you'll see it.
Why can't they
use
show it in the
trailer?
trailer?
Well,
if
I
it's
guess
part of their film, they can show it in the trailer.
legal department.
No, if it's a part, then they said stills. They're not going to show any of the holiday special in their actual
They
movie.
showed clips from the Donnie and Marie show.
Yeah.
And they have Donnie Osmond.
Well, I would want to know more about that. That seems interesting to me. But that looks like a shitty
70s
documentary.
variety. 70s variety television. I love it.
Well, I love
the
the idea. I love the story of it. I do want to know more about it. I hope this documentary can share more information than I already know about it. Yeah. But that trailer was horrible.
Well, it's, made on a budget. It's going to play at the South by Southwest Festival.
Well, that's at a pretty high level.
No, but this is probably this is made by fans. So and it's an attempt to also, like, if you don't have tons of money, then you make it look like of the era, and that's what that does. It looks like it's from the 70s.
I just hope it's more than just talking heads. I hope they have more. Honestly, I've seen Kevin Smith in a million of these things. I've seen Weird Al's been in a few of these as well. Yeah. Like, there are certain people that you just go to talk about nerd culture, and they're just on screen all the time, and I'm tired of it. So I don't care. I actually don't care what Kevin Smith thinks of this.
He loves it.
I know he does. That's why I don't care. Anyway, we'll see.
That's what he thinks of it.
I do want to see the documentary. I am interested to see it. I hope that they get some good. I mean, I hope they talk. Is Bruce Valanche still alive? Bruce Valanche was one of the writers. I hope they talk to him.
Oh yeah, you know what? I do believe he was on the Gilbert Gottfried podcast talking about it.
Okay. Well, they have Gilbert Gottfried on there. I hope they don't have him talking about Bruce Valanche.
Well, Gilbert Gottfried was now dead, by
I know
the way.
he is.
Yeah.
But he's in the documentary, so they interviewed him before he passed.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was good to see his face. So again, we'll see. Well, I mean, I'll watch it. When is that coming out? They said, South by Southwest, which is next, or the end of this month, I think.
Right. And then
it'll probably show up.
It'll be on streaming, yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably be on Prime or something like that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. But not as excited as I am to see the Mandalorian second episode of the third season.
Yeah.
How many? There's 8 episodes, I guess.
I think that's what they've been doing. Yes, 8
yeah.
episodes per season, pretty consistently. So I think that probably will be the case. I'm looking forward to it as well. And another few months of early Wednesday mornings. But I did end up watching this one twice. I don't know. Did you watch it twice or just the once?
I did not. I watched it. I will watch it twice, but I watched it once, and then I watched maybe 4 or 5 reaction videos from people watching it just to see like what's the general consensus, and people enjoyed it, and it's fun. There's a few scenes that are fun to watch reactions to, including the first scene where everybody's not sure what's going on, and then the big cheer when the ship flies in, and also Baby Grogu hugging they're not pets. That scene is a big one, and the speculation about Bo-Katan. I mean, that's really. Those are some of the major takeaways from this episode. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep watching and keep talking about it. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you in the ass.
We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
TK421, you copy?
Now I am the master.
I'm taking an awful risk.